listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
White Wall Breakdown, take 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Steve Zastro. On this week's episode, the alternative country sounds of Minneapolis-based songwriter Jake Jones. The Nashville, Tennessee rock sounds of Bobby Bear Jr. Also later in the hour, Sioux Falls-based ska punk band Donnybrook Brawlers. To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. Jake Jones is an alternative country songwriter from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We were lucky enough to have his full band join him for his White Wall performance. The band is Jake Jones on guitar and vocals, Sam Johnson on lead guitar and vocals, Lang Moa on bass, and August Ogren on drums. Jake Jones has one album released to date, 2013's EP, Arrowhead. He is currently in the process of writing and recording a new record at a studio he and drummer August Ogren built from scratch called The Petting Zoo.
Whiskey, baby, you drink water. I'm the son to a faithless father. You're the daughter to the preacher man. They're laying in front of you, the one that's singing. But I'll be fine. A little further down the line, so we'll learn how to play guitar and rhyme and I'll write a song. Honey, with you in mind, I will get high from time to time. I was at the mom, baby, you were in bed. Rolling around with my best friend, Jed. Home from work, babe, I came to Dave. Oh, one of the covers of both of you, lady. But I'll be fine a little further down the line, so we'll learn how to play guitar and rhyme and I'll write a song. Honey, with you in mind, I will get high from time to time. Yeah. Whiskey, baby, I'll drink water. Still the son to the faithless father. Still the daughter to the preacher man. Oh, from his church, baby, you've been banned. But I'm just fine. A little further down the line, so they'll learn how to play guitar and rhyme. And I wrote this song, honey, with you in mind, and I still get high from time to time. We all get high.
All right, once again, we are here tonight with Jake Jones from Minneapolis. And the first thing I want to do, Jake Jones, the guitar player, lead singer, and songwriter, why don't you introduce the other guys in the band and tell what they play?
Yeah, sure. So over here, this is Sam Johnson. He's lead guitar player, backup vocals. This is Lang on the bass guitar, and August is over there banging on the drums.
All right, thanks for coming in and playing for us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So how long has this band been together with this particular lineup?
Since last September, I want to say.
Yeah.
Sam and I grew up together, so we've been playing music since we were 12, 13 years old. And then we met August. We got paired up at a studio in Minneapolis. August produced the Arrowhead EP, and that's how we got together. And afterwards, he stuck around to bang on the drums. And then Lang actually filled in for a show in Chicago once on lead guitar when Sam couldn't make it. And then our bass player moved to Nashville, and Lang slipped right in. It became a name stay.
Adaptable is a very valuable thing in the music industry, you know.
All right, and this is the first time you guys have been in Sioux Falls?
It is,
as,
yeah.
as a band?
Yep.
All right.
I don't think I've ever been here personally before. Sam's been here a few times, but...
Been here a couple
All
of
right,
times.
well, welcome everybody.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the story of how, you said you and Sam have been playing together, but how did this evolve into,
To what
Jake
it is.
Jones?
So I was 5 years into a college degree and wasn't even close to finishing it. So I decided that I preferred writing songs and playing music. So I dropped out of school, met up with August. We made a little EP and have just been rolling on since then. Sam's been with us the whole time, and now we're working on a new full-length record at a studio that August and I have in Minneapolis called The Petting Zoo. We started recording that in December. We're about 80% there, I think, looking for a early 2016 release on that.
All right, now you do have one release that's already out, the Arrowhead EP.
Yes.
Tell us about recording that, and maybe, how did the songs, did you have all the songs already sitting around and decide to record it, or did you write just for this project, or that project?
The songs were pre-existing, not necessarily in the fashion that ended up on the record, because mostly it was just me and my guitar at that point. But we actually did a Kickstarter to fund that, raised almost $4,000, and then we went into a studio called Humans Wind in northeast Minneapolis, recorded it in 3 or 4 sessions, pretty quick.
It's pretty quick.
Actually, the turnaround was really quick. We started it in January of 2014 and had it out by April, so only 3 or 4 months later.
Quick compared to what we're
normal,
working on now, yeah.
The actual music time.
Is this the lineup that recorded on that record?
It's not, no.
It's not.
We had a bunch of session people come in, do some upright bass and a pedal steel player. We had some people come in and sing harmonies on it, but the main core is still here.
Right. That actually leads to another question then. Now, are you the primary songwriter, or do you write with any other
I
members
write
of the band?
the songs to about 80% complete, and then we work on arrangements and instrumentation and stuff.
Okay, so
altogether.
when you went into the studio and you had some other outside people in, do you have a real clear-cut idea of what you want all those people to play, or did you trust them enough to just improvise their parts on the spot, or a little of both?
Honestly, that's one of the things I like the most about making music, is allowing each individual to stand out, because obviously Sam knows guitar way better than I could ever hope to, so I like to let him go, and Lang is the bass guy and August does the drums, so to give them some freedom and ownership in the music too is important.
One thing that's fun too with this is like the songs are constantly evolving. Like
Right.
the songs we played today were, 2 months ago didn't sound anything like what we just played. So it's kind of a constant new arrangement that's happening.
And sometimes it's just spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Someone will just take it in a
Something
different
sounds better
direction
than
and
it did yesterday, so
hopefully we
start
follow
doing
in.
it that way.
Do you, when you write a new song and you start playing, I assume you play them out live before you record them?
Mm-hmm.
Does the audience reaction ever maybe change the approach to the arrangement or anything?
There's definitely, you can read reactions. It's better like a positive vibe or people moving or head bobbing. You kind of know you're going in the right way. It doesn't necessarily change the instruments we put on it, because we kind of have a sound we're forming around this, just the 4 of us, kind of keep it within this zone. That's what we're trying to do.
Right.
So
I want to ask Lang something. He said that you played lead guitar with them guys filling in one night.
Yeah.
What other, do you play much more than bass? If you're playing lead guitar at a gig, you obviously play guitar to some extent. Do you play other instruments too as well?
Just those two, guitar
Just the bass and guitar?
Bass. I'm not gonna dare to say I play drums or anything, because that's hard. But yeah, those two things are primarily what the services I provide to.
Right. Have you played lead guitar before in other groups over the years, or is it more
yeah.
been bass?
I have as good as Sam, and I really look up to him as a guitar. Yeah,
You are good. It's just a different style.
yeah.
That's
So,
the difference.
well, yeah, I play guitar in different projects. I know at the petting zoo, there's different things that I do guitar for August, and
Right.
other than that, I do bass too.
1, 2, 3.
Packed up my bags and took to the road, and my granddaddy's old Eldorado. Making my way down Interstate 35, praying, God, there's gotta be more to life. 15 hours and 3 tanks of gas, and I made it into Tennessee at last. Smoky Mountains, baby, get me high. Lend me the keys to paradise. 'Cause I'm chasing dreams that I can't give up. This getting black, babe, was never enough. I'm gonna do what I love and let it lift me up. Follow my heart, baby, no matter what. Hit the city, not a soul in sight. The place was dead, but I felt alive. So I took to the streets and had a look around. I once was lost, but I might be found. And I'm chasing dreams that I can't give up. 'Cause getting back big was never enough. I'm gonna do what I love and let it lift me up. Follow my heart, baby, no matter what. Standing here atop this hollowed stage, looking at it, every single smiling face. Can't believe just how the years have flown, but I still got that old Eldorado. And I'm chasing dreams that I can't give up. This getting back, babe, was never enough. I'm gonna do what I love and let it lift me up. Follow my heart, baby, no matter what.
To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. Still to come, the Nashville, Tennessee rock sounds of Bobby Bear Jr. Also later in the hour, Sioux Falls-based ska punk band Donnybrook Brawlers.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Bobby Bear Jr. is an amazing Nashville singer-songwriter with very deep roots. His first performance while still in grade school was with his father, the legendary Bobby Bear, when he sang his part in Daddy, What If? Bobby Bear Jr. has gone on to carve out an amazing songwriting career of his own, first with the group Bear Jr. and then with a blossoming solo career. His most recent album, 2014's Undefeated, features Bobby Bear Jr.'s Young Criminals Starvation League, a group of extremely talented friends and musicians from Nashville. Bobby Bear Jr. brought in a slightly unconventional lineup to the Whitewall sessions, featuring Donnie Schroeder on drums and Matt Rowland on keyboards. Matt handled all the bass parts on a Moog synthesizer.
Did you give it all you got? Did you make enough? Was it a lot? Did you make millions out of that praise and say ha, 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 ha? I know that you got. Did you stop and take a bow? Did you make her wonder how you spun their souls into a bowl and said ha, 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 ha? I was nothing, done quite a lot. Don't
Yay! Yeah, clap for me. Number one in Tacoma.
All right, well, we're very excited tonight here on the Whitewall Sessions. We're here with Bobby Bear Jr., and he's also got Matt Rowland, keyboard player. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Heck yeah.
All right, so first thing I'd like to say is, you know, Bobby, you've been in the music business basically all your life, a very long time. You actually recorded a hit song with your dad when you were like 8 years old, and that was Daddy What If, and now I know you re-recorded that with your daughter Isabella.
Yep.
And that's on the Shel Silverstein tribute record.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so have you always wanted to do music, or was that just kind of...
It looked like a really fun job. It looked like I picked up on how much fun my dad was having. I don't know. I always say that, you know, the only difference between me and my brother, I have a much more desperate need for attention than he does. He probably genetically has all the talent I do. Yeah. Well, actually, I know he is. He was always better at sports, better at everything. He just didn't have as desperate a need for attention as I do. So I ended up doing this.
Right, and what was your first instrument, and like how old were you when you first started playing?
I was 24, 25 when I started playing guitar, and I just sang in cover bands until I was 30-something. I didn't start doing this full time until I was, I think, 32 years old.
And you got a degree in psychology?
Useless.
Useless?
Completely. Yeah, anybody who's working.
He could be a manager at Kinko's, though.
I could work at Kinko's. I can fix bike flats.
You could be a manager at the bike store now.
I could manage people selling tires at the bike shop.
Does it apply at all, even with some of the crazy stuff that happens on the road, or is it just
what, the psychology?
Yeah.
Oh, that comes in tremendous
that's what I was
handy
thinking,
then.
maybe, you know, if nothing else.
I got up on stage, and after the first song, and put his arm around me and started talking to me, and I just pretended to cry and started shaming him. It's passive aggressive. That's psychology, right?
Yeah,
So,
it works.
So that worked.
Works.
I used it in that situation.
So, Matt, what's your musical background?
Oh, you know, all of it. I played piano for too many years, and I'm the opposite of Bobby. I came out playing piano and just played in church, played a lot of instruments all through. I'm from Arkansas, and but moved to Tennessee when I was like 12 or 13, and then kind of just ended up around Nashville and Murfreesboro, which is a little town right outside. It's kind of the last suburb of Nashville, and went to college there. And was a piano major, jazz piano major, and then kind of just one day kind of realized, like, oh, I got a gig playing bass in kind of a traditional country band, electric bass. And I was like playing in Nashville, and I was like, oh, Nashville. Oh, Music City, George Jones, here we go. Like, you know.
He's a much better guitar player and bass player than I am. But he's on the keys.
Yeah.
All right. Holding down the bass as well.
Yeah.
You guys just today only have the guitar, keys, and drums. What's your drummer's name?
Donnie Schroeder. He's from Mount Juliet.
All
Or
right.
Donaldson, Mount Juliet, part of Nashville.
Are you doing these gigs as the Young Criminal Starvation League, or just the Bobby Bear Jr.? Or?
Oh, yeah.
It's all the same.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like a baseball team.
Yeah.
But like I said, me and Donnie, we got the franchise tag, if you understand.
Yeah.
They can't get rid of you.
You have to move out of town to get out of my band.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a
And
good-
even then, I absorb. I'll book it to. I'll book if Donnie moves to L.A., I'll book a line of shows where Donnie is, or chase him down.
Just chasing Donnie down.
So, Bobby, how often do you do just the solo gigs? Is that a pretty good percentage?
Solo
of the
acoustic,
stuff?
probably a third, sometimes half. Sometimes I'm just doing house parties for months on end, and sometimes it's just, you know, going out, opening up, playing shows, or like we're doing now, just headlining some stuff.
Do you like to use those gigs as a showcase for your newer material, or do you do that with either?
Usually, I just haven't written anything new in a really long time. I've written a lot, I just haven't finished anything.
All right. Well, speaking of songwriting, something I wanted to ask you about, I was reading a little bit about you online, and when you did start writing songs, Shel Silverstein was a good family friend of your guys's, and you said that you'd bounce your new tunes off of him and he'd critique them for you?
Well, not even tunes. I'd send him songs, but he just wanted the lyrics, and he would critique the lyrics, because he just saw music really. I mean, he was a music fanatic, but he just saw music as a way for him to sneak his words into your ears. Whenever he wrote a song, he would just take, you know, some traditional country song and put his words on top of it. I don't even know if I'm not even sure if he had music to A Boy Named Sue I think he just sent Johnny Cash a set of lyrics.
And they just figured it out.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss me after I hit the big time. You won't see me around here no more. You're gonna miss hit the big time. Because I will be far away, only caring about myself. And if you see me on the street and you try to talk to me, I say, you have mistaken me for someone else. You have completely mistaken me for someone else. Don't bother putting me after you see on TV. My own phone number, you know I had to have it. You can't live and me through your bound to deceive, but I won't see, 'cause it's bright lights and litany clock. Oh, holy bright lights have left me blind.
To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. Still to come, Sioux Falls-based ska punk band Donnybrook Brawlers.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
The Donnybrook Brawlers are a five-piece ska punk band from Sioux Falls. The band is Sean Egan on guitar and vocals, his wife Laura Egan on trumpet and djembe, Greg Hill on bass, Carl Graber on trombone, and Tyler McVeigh on drums. The Donnybrook Brawlers' explosive energy in their performance brought us all to our feet the night of their session.
Is this really necessary, or is there another way? Have you checked with your contemporaries? What did they have to say? There must be some kind of solution to take away the pain. So is this really necessary, or is there another way? I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. Will it take some medication to fill up all these holes? Or therapeutic intervention to heal a wounded soul? I'm dying for a resolution, something to put me whole. But I'm not sure of your intentions, where all of this will go. I need to know. I need to know.
All right, once again tonight we're here with the Donnybrook Brawlers from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and we thank you guys very much for sharing your joyous music with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
So instead of me trying to butcher up everybody's names here, why don't we have Sean Egan, the guitar player, introduce each member and tell us what they all play, please?
Absolutely. Well, we have Laura Egan. She plays trumpet, saxophone, and auxiliary percussion.
The gunslinger.
We call her the gunslinger. She's
So
going to be very
silly.
embarrassed that we said that.
Okay.
Carl Graber plays trombone and occasionally fiddle. And we haven't done that in a while, but it does happen every now and then. Tyler McVeigh on the drums, and Greg Hill on the bass and vocals.
All right, I encourage any of you guys to get in on any of these questions as you see fit. So how about a little bit of the background of the Donnybrook Brawlers story? You know, how long have you guys been together? Is this lineup always been static, or have you had different members in the group?
We actually had our first show on summer solstice, which was two of them a year. Two of them.
Years.
Yeah. And this has been the original lineup since the get-go.
What year was the first show?
2013.
Okay, so you guys been together a couple years now.
Yep.
How did you all end up together? I mean, with this particular lineup.
Well, Greg and Laura and I were in a band prior to this, and we decided to start another band. We asked Ty if he wanted to play drums, and he said yes, which we were very thankful for. After a little while, we decided we wanted to add another horn player, and so we asked Carl, and he said yes as well, and we're really happy to have him too. So that's kind of how it all got started.
And we're all very connected in another way. Whereas Laura was my band teacher. My dad was a superintendent at the time. That was awesome. Having her be my band teacher was amazing. Then I went to the same high school as Carl. So we're all kind of...
Carl's baby.
7 years apart, but...
Carl's baby brother, in fact, actually gave me your phone number so I could get a hold of him. So I was like, hey, Kent, would your brother play in our ska band?
And he thankfully did.
Yes.
It's always been ska for you guys as far as this particular band. That's kind of why you got to get that was the idea behind it.
Yeah, the intention was to start a ska band, and also we had kind of an Irish punk aspect to it as well, which is where the name came from. Since then, we've as we've written our own music, we've evolved into something different.
Whatever it is you see here today.
Yeah, we've strayed from the Irish punk quite a bit, and even quite a bit from the original, the ska stuff we were doing.
But we still
too.
play a lot of ska.
We do play
at our live shows.
do.
We play a lot of ska.
We
music.
do play a lot of ska still. But the name, and then the name just stuck, so we kept the name. So
What is it about ska music that drew you to it exactly? Anybody?
It's happy music. You can't screw that up.
Horns and drums, and guitar, a lot of power.
yeah.
Doesn't need distortion to just kick you in the face. The horns and everything does it.
Right.
The first time that I heard ska was actually through punk, because there's a lot of crossover between the ska and the punk scenes.
Right.
And, bands like Rancid, Operation Ivy, stuff like that. And then from there, then that drew me into more of the traditional, the older ska, the Jamaican ska music,
Right.
Which I've fallen in love with since then. And we have some songs that are kind of inspired by that. Like Ty said, we do those at our live shows still.
From what I understand, a lot of Jamaican people emigrated to England like in the 50s, and they brought their dance hall music and all that, and they were not shy about bringing their music with them and having a good time on the weekends and getting together and stuff. And the first ska that I was aware of was like in the 80s. There was bands like Madness and the Specials and the Selector and all that.
Yep, the
and
two-tone.
they were two-tone, right? These bands were integrated. It was black and white musicians playing together and drawing. I'm not sure. I'm sure punk was happening a little before that when those bands formed, but they drew from all that, and it's a very high energy, very joyous type music. We really had a lot of fun listening to you guys today, but there's also it's kind of there's a political element in the lyrics. Do you draw on that as well? I mean, some of the stuff you write about.
Some of the songs, yeah. Some of the songs do have kind of not an overtly political message, but there's some of things that are going on in the world that I feel like saying something about. Some of that does get into the songs.
So, do you primarily write like the lyrics, or do you guys all get in on that?
I write most of the lyrics, and then Greg writes some lyrics too.
When you, let's say you write a song and bring it to the first rehearsal now, does everybody write their own parts?
Yes.
Or do you kind of map them out ahead of time?
Some have been mapped out.
Some,
We
yeah.
have a lot of them we layer. Sean will start with a guitar part and start singing. Usually Ty layers in next on percussion, and then Greg and the horns last.
Yeah,
I
we
think
kind of
that's-
fiddle around for a bit, but we eventually
And
lock
that's one of the
in.
magic things about this group is that it's such a collaborative effort. Sean really starts with a template, and that's all there is, and we fill in the whole rest of the body of the song. And there's a lot of creative freedom that comes, and we all collaborate and help each other out. And I think there's been some commentary that this is like the first band that you guys ever been in where nobody argued or fought.
Yeah. Really, the Brawlers don't fight.
Not with each other.
Not with each other.
Okay, good.
Or anyone
But if you
else.
pick on a brawler, they're gonna all gang up.
I guarantee you, Laura will have my back anytime I need it. So
That's good.
Not
This
worried
is my
about it.
crew.
So now, as far as the horns, I assume that Carl and Laura, you guys, well, if you were a band teacher, and I know you played with the symphony.
Not
So-
on trombone, on
Okay,
violin.
okay, but you guys both are real good readers, and so do you guys? How do you go about writing your horn charts or whatever?
I don't write them. At this point, if it's old material where Laura's written a part out, I'll use that part. As we've come up with new material, I just kind of wing it.
Good job.
Where with the instruments where I'm more classically trained, I'm a lot more tied to notes on the page than I am with this, and that's something I really enjoy about the Brawlers.
Which I think you can really hear with him
Yeah.
tonight. He does amazing things, in my opinion, on the trombone.
It's
that
never
aren't.
the same
You're not going to
either.
write that.
No.
You're never going to write that.
Come
This
to a
guy's gonna
show,
play
it'll
it, but
sound
you ain't
different.
gonna write it.
I have to chime in here because what Carl does on trombone, where he feels freed as opposed to playing piano music or violin music, where he's watching the sheet music. I grew up playing trombone, and I played it competitively in lots of different bands. And he's actually using my trombone now. and for me, trombone was always the instrument that I was not a slave, but I was always focused on the sheet music, and it was hard for me to improvise. And bass came along, and it just opened up a whole new world for me. So it's interesting that trombone is what opens up his world.
How about you, Laura? Do you stick to your same parts most often, or are you guys both kind of improvising as you go along?
I kind of stick with my parts more. The trumpet and the saxophone, neither are really my native instrument. And because I'm flipping between a B flat and an E flat horn, I don't always trust my transposition on the spot. So, I do. The folder, that's my security blankie. And Carl is gracious and allows me to have it.
Watching the people stare at the sun, ignoring the pain in their eyes. Everybody knows that it should not be done, but acts like they don't have a choice. None of them want to stop what they know as the one recognizable noise. A sickening haze, it fills up the air, choking the outspoken voice. But sometimes somebody crosses the line, and there's no way to ever get back around again. That's fine, now you can see what we meant all this time, and there's no way to ever get back around again. Nothing is shocking, orange but green, boxcars are waiting outside. These are the things that you're needing to see. We're so glad you opened your eyes. Sonic explosions, mysterious goo takes you away for the night. Now nothing is left in the orbit for you. You've gone under, you're out of sight. But sometimes somebody crosses the line, and there's no way to ever get back around again. That's fine. Now you can see what we meant all this time, and there's no way to ever get back around again.
To hear more on these artists, as well as other artists featured on the program, visit www.thewhitewallsessions.com. White Wall Sessions Radio is produced by Spectrum Films. Executive producers are Doug Taylor and Jeff Zuger. Director of Broadcast is Dave Palmer. White Wall Sessions Radio is produced and mixed by Chad Conrad. I'm your host, Steve Zastro. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to join us next week, same time, same station.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.